This is a How to Defeat Jeanne with 1 to 3 star servant guide. We're going to want a support servant that has good HP and gets an event bonus. And we want an event craft essence. That is the number one thing that we want to start with. Once you have your support figured out, you're going to want to look at berserkers and casters to really have a nice class advantage to be able to pound in that ruler class. And of course, the multiple assassins that show up. Now, you are thinking, Light Force, I don't have a good berserker or caster. Yes, you do, and I will help you find one in your list of servants that works. This is Cuckoo Lane. You got him from your very first Singularity, and he is a great area of effect caster. Not only that, he's strong, and one of his skills allows him to get attacked 3 times and take no damage, so he has great survivability. Personally, I'm gonna go with Hans because I want survivability, so heals, defensive buffs, attack buffs, and good arts cards. Now, in order to keep the servant cost low, I'm going to use Mash. She has great defensive capabilities and lots of survivability. She's perfect for this. She's low cost and everyone has her. She's perfect. I'm going to equip her with a Star of Altria. I'm equipping her with this just for the sake of not doing a 100-200 turn attack per se. And I'm using an event craft essence, but you can use any craft essence that gives you survivability. As you can see, I don't have a lot of Sabers. In fact, this is why I'm struggling in this event, and this is why this guide exists. So let's look at Berserkers. Darius III, or Age 3, is a pretty good one, but he's more of an area of effect Berserker, which we're not going to necessarily want. I chose Lubu because Lubu, I've never used him either. This is the first time I use him, but he has 3 good Buster cards, and he has a Buster Noble Phantasm. Not only that, he can self-boost and has a self-defense skill. So here's my initial team using my own Saber Lily, which is completely optional. Before we dive any deeper, I just want to remind you that this guide assumes that you're about halfway through the game, you have some idea and some experience. Assuming you've been here before the New Year's event, or if you started on New Year's, you have at least some of these craft essences. And we used 1 extra event craft essence to boost, just because I assumed that you rolled the Friends Point Gotcha and got one. Leonidas is a good alternate to St. George. He's pretty good, and he has battle continuation, which makes him very, very strong and sturdy. And this is what my team is going to look like going into this. Of course, feel free to interchange, put in any servants that you prefer. You can swap out either of the lilies for either a different support servant or different craft essence. The point of the matter is getting through this level in a decent amount of time and being able to keep going and enjoying the game. Key thing to note is you want to make sure that your team is compatible. I made sure that there were lots of art, quick cards for good combos. So, let's get started. So, we're gonna want to start with as many skills as possible that will boost our moment. We want to go for survivability, and because our skills aren't really advanced, we're gonna want to use them often. So we're gonna start off so we can get lots of skill usage throughout. The front side of this team is definitely going to be an arts-based team with Mash, Hans, and Lily. They have a lot of arts cards and they can synergize fairly well, especially Mash and Hans. And I recommend that whatever caster you end up picking to take out the assassin robots, that they can synergize really well with Mash. You don't want somebody that's going to be pure damage, but somebody that can also provide her and your own character defensive boost. So this way, you're able to keep going and outlast your enemy, which is a very popular strategy, which is known as the stall teams. The major downside to using 3 starter servants as your stall team on the front is that it's going to be a while, and you're going to notice that it's going to be a lot of turns. In fact, we're going to skip around in the footage that I have and make sure that you guys can see the important parts, the highlights, the things that matter. I'm going to use the Mystic Code so that I have access to healing, attack, and a dodge. And yes, it's a little advanced, but it still takes about 8 turns to recover any of my Mystic Code skills. So as we progress through the battle, we want to make sure that we get as many art cards in as we can, quick cards if we want, critical strikes. You want to make sure that whatever team composition you're using, that your team really benefits of being together. This is a really nice card right here because Mash gets her guts and I get lucky. And the reality is that this game is obviously a lot about luck, and sometimes you have good luck and sometimes you have bad luck, which happened in both instances during this battle. Here's a good example of planning out your skill usage and planning out when you're going to use specific noble phantasms, making sure that they stack and making sure that your cards work together. So let's just jump right into the fight that we've been waiting for. So Jeanne has had a couple of turns. We've taken out the robots right beside her, and we are just stacking up our arts card. Remember, when she uses her noble phantasm, yes, she does heal, but it's not for a lot. She does get a self-stun, and unless you have a craft essence or a skill or a noble phantasm that can break through invincibility, she's going to be invincible for a turn. But she is stunned during that turn. So in the name of progress and to end all these turns, I let Hans die because I wanted to bring in George and Lubu here. I call him George, but that's just a thing of mine. Keep it personal. So we skip around again. I let St. George's take his hits, and we bring out Lubu. And we get him stacking because I know that my cards now are going to be more evenly distributed but with more buster cards. So we need to set up Lubu for success. The rest of the video is going through the motions of taking out Jeanne. And you want to make sure that your Berserker is capable of attacking. So that's why we equipped that Purely Bloom at the very beginning. We want to make sure that he has damage throughout this ordeal, because there's a chance that Jeanne will one-shot him with a critical. So what can you do to improve and do differently? You could do a lineup of 3 servants in the back that are berserkers to just pump out damage once you get to being able to defeat the Saint of France. And you want to make sure that you're able to get through this. So that's why I chose a team that was capable of stalling at the beginning and just taking out those assassins. That was the key for me, so that then I can transition to that one-on-one fight and being able to bring in my Berserker to apply heavy damage. As long as you get a good support, somebody that can support your team, whether with damage or being the supporting servant, you're good to go. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.